Hey everybody, and welcome to my N5 series on the SP404 Mark II, where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. This is session 52.5, and I want to start talking about pad mutes. I've recorded this video a couple times, and I thought I understood pretty well how it worked, but it turns out that when you actually start using it, it's not quite what you always think. But let's start with, we've got this pattern. It's got everything going on, and we don't necessarily want that. So if we copy the pad over to pad 5, what we can do, or should be able to do, is come in, and if we want to record some automation for it, for pad mutes, shift reverse remain puts us into pad mute mode. We can hit record, then we can come into pad 5. And what I want to do, we're going to test this out, is let's just mute just the drums here. We lost pad mute mode already. I'm going to record pad mute automation. So let's see what happens. So we want this to have no drums. But maybe we'll bring drums back in just on the 4-1. So everything's muted except for these two. Now, I want to exit out. I want to see what happens when we come over here. So we go pattern. It's got everything playing. And let's see what happens when we switch to 5. So it's playing everything because we don't have pad motion play on. So if I hold shift, reverse, and remain, it now puts it into that mode. Unfortunately, you can't see over here on the display. You have to go to pattern mode to see that you have that turned on. And I believe if we switch back to pattern 1, we should have everything playing. Let's find out. Yeah, so it brings everything back because we don't have any pad mutes, but we still have this pattern mute mode on. So what I had been thinking at first was you could just kind of keep copying these things over. But what ends up, the reality is happening is that we are losing some of that automation. Like it won't carry over automation. So if you kind of like just start, here, I'll show you this way. So we go copy 1 over, we'll just copy to 7. So if we have shift, reverse, remain, we go into our pad mute mode. We just shift, reverse, remain. We just put these in pad mute. And then we come play this. They're muted. But here's what gets weird is if we go into record so that we're actually recording these pad mutes, if we pull this pad mute off like here, shift, reverse, remain, motion rec on. This is just where I get confused. So it's what we just recorded is the unmute. So these are now just going to be staying unmuted. So to get it so you can see it again, you have to mute everything when you come back to the 1.1, because when we copied it, it didn't have that mute automation to unmute. So you can see like it's now working, but all I'm trying to explain here, which I don't know that I'm doing a great job, is if you want to record pad mute and unmute events, they will copy over, but if you just have them enabled and you haven't actually recorded them to a pattern, it's going to drive you mental because your patterns aren't going to function and operate the way that you expect them to. So I hope that makes sense, but we kind of get this weird, I mean, it's not weird, but my advice would be if you want to build these things up, copy from whatever your master pattern is that has everything playing, and then go through the exercise of muting and unmuting the content that you want. So, you know, let's say we want to have a pattern where we've got all of the glitched elements muted. So we'll go into mute mode. Actually, it's going to take it, it's going to remove it again, right? So we'll hit record, shift, reverse, remain. So I want all of these drums to be muted. We gotta unfortunately wait for it to come back around again. So I wait that. Now if we go to these glitch elements, let's say we want most of these muted. We're going to want to make sure that when it comes back around, we've got that muted now. So now we've just got the bass, these pads, the synth, the drums. So now we've just got the bass and this synth sound going. Maybe we want to unmute here so that we have some of this kind of like a drop, maybe, or whatever you want to have for a transition. So we've now got this actually recorded and locked in. If we exit all the way out, when we play it though, you're going to hear it's just playing it straight. And the reason why this is happening is because you need to put it back into you have to hold shift, reverse, and remain to put it back into pad mute mode so that it'll play the automation. So I'm just going to say you can do some very powerful things here, but because of the default behavior of how some of the SP404 Mark II works with playing this mute automation and needing to be in the pad mute mode, like if I come here, shift, reverse, remain, immediately I'm out of it. And actually you could hear it even came out of it when I just hit reverse. So shift, reverse, remain, I'm in it. Or I thought I was in it. Yeah, it's just that because everything on me, it kind of like ignores it. So if you hold shift, reverse, because this is the mode that you'd be in to just start muting whatever you wanted, free will. I guess all I'm trying to say is just be aware that you can't be in the pad mute mode with shift and reverse where you're just selecting pad mutes and also be in the pad mute automation playback mode. And it's only going to start playing that automation when it actually picks up and triggers the events that would change the state. It's a little weird. I think it's still workable and I think you can still do some cool stuff with it, but I guess just be aware. And it's probably changing my mind on how I would go about building tracks, because I would probably actually go back and say, you should probably copy and use delete, which I'm going to do in the next video. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Keep making music. If it sounds good, it is good. And peace.